Hey guys, Jess with Peekaboo Wreath. So we are back to make one last fall wreath. I cannot move on to Christmas yet. I just can't do it. It's like September 15th or something, and I just can't do it. All right, so what you guys normally see me do is cut 3 rolls of mesh to make 2 wreaths. I can't fully commit to making 2 more fall wreaths. I know I'm gonna make 1 for sure. But I have a little bit of this left over, so we're gonna use the rest of this. I think it's gonna make 3 cuts, and then the rest we're gonna use these, and we're gonna have some left over, and that's okay. So let's cut these up. This is really pretty. It is it's called a frayed edge burlap, so it'll be a really pretty like fall look. See, kind of looks like carpet over here. It's kind of a different look. I've never used that before actually. This is called Polypro Mesh Ribbon. It's from Hobby Lobby. This one has the cotton strings through it. And then, like I said, we're gonna use a little bit of that bronze stripe. So I was thinking with this one that we could, I don't know if you guys saw my last wreath that I made. It was a really pretty, what did I say? This had to be 27 inches to make 3, I think. It was a really pretty, like dark purple and those type of tones. And I really liked the way that turned out. It was for a custom order for a storm door wreath. So normally I cut these 30 inches. These 3 here, I'm gonna cut, I think I did the math, it was like 27 inches. I guess we'll find out in a minute for 3 cuts. But yes, my last plum colored wreath that I made, it was, this could have been more than 27 inches. Here, let's see. It was for a storm door and it was a custom order. So I can't make an exact replica of it. This one will end up being about 27 inches. So I'll have 4 at 27, which we'll put those on the top because I like the way that those look a lot. All right, where am I at here? Yes, so the other one that I made that was in the really pretty plum tones, that one was for a custom order, and so that one has, you know, found its door, but I wanted to make another one in those tones. I was kind of looking at the wreaths that are in my shop, and I was seeing, you know, what might be missing that a customer might want, and I think a dark toned wreath might be a good choice. So we're gonna try it. Whenever I cut my mesh, I always cut like a straight cut in the beginning. That way I know that it'll help minimize the fraying. So we're gonna make these at 30 inches. So again, this is 10.5 inch mesh, cut to 30 inches. This frayed mesh is kind of interesting because it counts as 10 inches still, even though the frayed part counts as some of that width. So the mesh part is actually thinner, like skinnier this way. So it's a little, I've never used it before, so we'll see how we like that. But we're gonna be doing that, these 2 all the way around the outside ring. So we'll do 6 of each. And then when we get to the top, we'll just need to do 2 of these. So 1 of each of those. And then the 4 with the reflective that I wanted to use up. So how I do this, when I cut the 30 inches, I always just cut, I pull it over to 24, which is at the end of my mat here, and then I stretch it for another 6 inches. In case you guys are wondering how to do that. Keep in mind too that all of my videos that I post, these are called long form, which are like real time. I also post them in short form, which is just like, I do like a voiceover and I speed it up, and so that you kind of get the gist of what's going on without sitting through the entire process. So whether you're watching a long form and wish that it was shorter, or a short form and wishing that it was longer, just know that you can head over to my YouTube and find what you're looking for. I've been posting some of the short form ones on Facebook, and people have been saying this is too fast, and it is too fast when it's in a short. It's true. I take like, you know, a 20-minute segment or however long it is and fast forward it to 2 minutes. So yes, I understand. If I was learning how to do wreaths, I would also say that that is too fast. But if you're just trying to catch somebody's attention, which is most of what reels are about, is just catching that attention, then shorts or reels work best for you. If you want the long one, learn how to actually do it, head on over to my YouTube channel. All right, so these are the last couple pieces. Although they're both supposed to be at, you know, the same amount, there's always a little bit of variance. All right, so I figured we could use these ones because why not? So these are they're like pipe cleaners, but they have like a pine. Technically, they're called pine ties because they look like pine needles. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, one more, 18. Okay, we need 18 ties. So there we go. And if you've been here a time or two, you know that I like to trim the ties a little bit, because I know that I won't use the entire length of that tie for my mesh and my ribbon. So I always just cut maybe about 2 inches off. That way we don't have to go around at the end and clip them off. So that is just my preference. If you'd rather clip them off at the end, then that is totally fine too. And there's no real rhyme or reason why I'm using these textured ones this time and not on the other wreaths. It's just that I had these available, and I used my smooth ones for just a plain burlap wreath when they sell. So I figure might as well use these ones today. No real rhyme or reason. So here we go. They do shed a little bit, looks like. Okay, there we go. We have a 14-inch wreath form, and we're just gonna wire it up like we normally do. Putting 6 ties around the inner ring, 12 around the outer ring. I always make sure that I twist these as tight as I can without separating the welds. You want to make sure that they're not going to move around yet, not twist them so tightly that it separates the weld on the wreath form, because that can happen. And then you just have to throw away your wreath form because there's no way to fix that. So there we go, we're just going around, putting 12 on the outside, 6 on the inside. That's our wreath frame recipe. Make sure that if you like this video that you do hit the thumbs up button or the heart and leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I don't know why this one is so short. Put that one aside. Let me know where you're watching from if you're a wreath maker, if you are still working on fall, if you are a wreath maker, if you, what else? Anything, I guess. Just let me know. Let me know what's going on. So there we go. We're just twisting these in here. I'm making sure that I fold up the inner ones just because I put my mesh on the outside ring first. You know, these pine ties, they come in dark green, which are really good to use for attaching items to your Christmas garlands. It's nice to have those green ones so that if you attach this to like if you attach any type of Christmas decorations to a railing, you won't be able to see the garland if you use garland pine ties. As you see, these are tan. We're just going to be putting in 1 piece of mesh and then 1 set of ribbons in each tie, so that's why we were able to cut those down a little bit. But it's just preference. If you want to leave them long and then trim them at the end. That's totally up to you. So we have this all here. We have our mesh cut, so we can start putting that in. We're going to take one piece of 30-inch mesh and put it into each tie. We're just going to curl this a couple times, once or twice, and then just gather it right up the middle. You're going to want to try to keep it as symmetrical on each side as possible because we want it to look like a little bow tie or a little butterfly. We just roll up the edge, we flip it over so that the cut side is facing down. Doesn't really matter where you put it, where you start on here, as long as it is on the outside. And then twist that. And then I always open that mesh up, get rid of any little fray so it looks like this. And then just turn it. And then we're gonna put our next piece of mesh in. Now we're gonna be using one of the frayed pieces. I feel like this is gonna give it a nice little texture. So we're just gonna roll it one, maybe 2 times, and then just ruffle it up. I keep my thumbs stationary and then ruffle up my fingers. Just roll it a time or 2. It just helps keep the frays under control. And then flip it. This is really pretty. I like that. It reminds me of a scarecrow. I think that was the thought process behind that. I don't know if I ever bought, I know some people, they make scarecrow wreaths, and what they'll do is like they'll buy a sign that looks like a scarecrow face, and then you use that frayed mesh, oops, excuse me, that frayed mesh around the outside, and then it looks kind of like a scarecrow texture. So that might have been what I was thinking, but although I was just looking through my fall bin and I was not seeing any kind of scarecrow face, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't even remember buying that frayed mesh, so I don't know. It looked like the label was from Hobby Lobby, but I don't remember getting that. Sometimes I buy what are called D-stash lots, and what those are is like I'll have a friend that was a wreath maker, or somebody like a friend of a friend that used to make wreaths somewhere, not even in Michigan, and you can buy like their materials as they're destashing them and getting out of wreath making, or maybe they're just getting rid of something that they had a lot of extra that they never used. So I always figure it's better to, even though it's sad that somebody's getting out of wreath making, I would rather buy somebody else's supplies than as long as I know it's like a clean home, you know. But most of the wreath supplies are sealed up, like that mesh was sealed. But anyways, what I'm getting at is that I'd rather help another wreath maker out who's trying to get rid of their supplies than buy something new from a website, if possible, so I just kind of put myself in their shoes. You know, if I was getting out of wreath making, I'd want somebody that still makes wreaths to be buying it from me, so I know that it's going through a good home and it's going to somebody else that's going to use it to make beautiful things. So there we go. Now we're going for the frayed piece. I do like this mesh. It is a little bit different. It's a lot softer, and there's not as much area to gather because that other part is frayed. So something different. It's a different texture, but I think it'll add to this wreath. So we're just tying it in there. Again, these pieces are cut to 30 inches long. They're 10.5 inches wide. We're using this cotton burlap. This is called, what is it called? Yes, cotton, what's it? I don't know. There's a specific name for it. Cotton something. But yeah, we're just gathering it, rolling it a couple times, turning it over so the cut side is facing down, moving that mesh a little bit out of the way, placing it down, not opening the ties at all, and just giving it a couple twists, making sure I'm not getting the top layer. And then what I like to do is I like to kind of butt the mesh up against each other so that it's like this. It's not overlapping. It can be as full as possible. With the last wreath that we made in this color scheme, it was meant for a storm door, and that's supposed to be as flat as possible, not as wide as possible. So it's just a little bit of a different technique. And if you're interested in seeing that, just head over to my video playlist. It says like something about thin door wreath or storm door wreath or something like that. And that's that. So I am, as I approach my Christmas craft show season, I'm going to be starting to try out a few new things on here. I tend to do that when I have my, I guess last year was my first year, but with my Christmas craft shows coming up, I like to try to offer something that maybe people haven't seen before, so that I can, when I'm marketing it, the show, I can, you know, put on here and on Facebook that, you know, there'll be things that you guys haven't seen before, like I'm trying out new techniques or using new materials I might not have used. I know that I'm starting to get excited about my Christmas wreath, which is kind of crazy to think about because, you know, currently I have a fall shirt on. I have earrings that look like pumpkin spice lattes. And I'm about to go to Starbucks on my way to get my kids today, so, and get a fall drink. But, you know, and it's 80 degrees outside. I was just telling my mom yesterday, I'm like, it is such a weird time because it feels like summer. I got my fall decorations out and I'm thinking about making Christmas wreaths soon. So it's a nutty time. It's a nutty time out there and in here. So, yes, we're just doing the same thing. We're just rolling it a couple times and then just gathering it so it looks like a little bow tie. Like that. This is the part that was cut, so we're flipping it over, getting any little mesh, frays off there if we can. Normally I recommend cutting them, but those ones on the outside, sometimes they just, you can pull them easily. This is our last piece for the outside ring. And then we'll put one of each of these, and then 4 of the bronze ones. And then we'll put our bow like on top of where the bronze ones are. These ties are a little bit short. I guess I should have noticed if they were shorter, because they're not typical pipe cleaners before I cut them. I probably should have looked at that, but I think we'll be just fine. I was thinking about just doing a bow on this wreath, but then I found a really pretty sign. It is maroon, and I know that I have a maroon wreath listed right now in my shop, but it is leopard print. This wreath here that we're making is going to be more like purple tones, not necessarily maroon. I don't know, I'm just trying to get some variety. You know, I have one wreath that is, you know, like the orange fall. You know, that's a thin storm door wreath. I have, like I said, I had that leopard one. I have, what else? I have a blue and orange one. I got, let's think, what else? I have a sunflower one. I have, I don't know. I have maybe 4 or 5 in there right now. Sometimes fall isn't the best seller for me, but then sometimes I think that, and then it's just a little bit delayed, or it'll sell some other time in the year. So who knows? So I remember last year, what I tend to do is sometimes I'll try to stock up, like at the end of the season when the stuff is on sale. Like I'll stock up for the next year because I know that I'm not going to stop making wreaths anytime soon. So I think last year, honestly, I don't, I know I was selling at a small business boutique near me. It was just last year. Time's changing, huh? But last year I was selling there. I don't think I barely sold any, if any, fall wreaths. I remember I was feeling discouraged about that. So when fall time came and went, and I didn't sell as much fall as I had anticipated, I don't think I really stocked up on fall after season. But then I think when I went to my Christmas craft show, which is, my first one is a little bit before Thanksgiving. I think I sold 1 or 2 fall wreaths there, which only left a little bit left in my Etsy shop, which I remember thinking, oh yeah, I probably should have stocked up after all at the end of season. So all to say that, to let you know that I'm going to be stocking up this year. No matter how my Etsy sales go, just to get ready for next year, because I did not stock up last year. And a lot of times with us wreath makers, we will start making things for the next season before the stores have caught up with that. So it's good to have extra on hand. Just sticking this down in here, giving it a twist, making sure it's not overlapping any of the bronze mesh. This it kind of reminds me of like a shag carpet. It's an interesting material. We'll see. All right, this is our last piece. We're going to use our rotary cutter to get a nice sharp edge. Please be careful when you use your rotary cutters. I know of a crafter who cut her hand very severely with a rotary cutter, and she required like stitches and like even physical therapy. There was some damage that happened, and it was right around the holiday season when things really pick up for wreath makers. So it was a hard time for her. So please don't do that. Please be careful. I know sometimes we get in the groove of things and we get going, and all right, there we go. Speaking of getting going, we got all that mesh cut and put on our wreath base in 20 minutes. How about it? So there we go. This one measures already at 24 inches. We don't even have all of our mesh or anything on. So next time I see you, I will be adding all of that on. I need to look through my ribbons, see what colors I'm gonna go with, and I will talk to you next time. See ya.